Hurricane Milton making landfall in Florida last night as a Category 3 storm, bringing devastation to parts of Florida. In terms of the market's reaction to this, we have seen insurers, home builders, even some retailers on the move. One stock in particular that has seen a run up ahead of the storm is shares of Generac. We're looking at a little bit of a give back here this morning, off just about 2%, but the stock did hit a 52-week high earlier this week after most of the company's portable products were in high demand and some even selling out. Here to weigh in, we want to bring in Aaron Jagdfeld. He is the Generac's chairman, CEO, and president. Aaron, thanks so much for making time to join us here this morning. We have been talking a lot about Generac stock here over the last several days as many people were preparing for this storm. I'm curious what you're seeing demand-wise and whether or not this is typical of prior hurricanes and some of that buying behavior that you typically see from consumers.
Yeah, I mean, we have been seeing obviously elevated demand, and I think it's more the nature of the back-to-back. You know, we had a very early storm with Beryl in early July, and then we had Helene a couple weeks ago, and now with Milton right on the heels of Helene. You know, obviously the demand grows with each event. So, and this storm is, I mean, it's devastating to see the images and you see the damage that Helene caused, and now you see, you know, some of the first images we're seeing of Milton here as well. I mean, it's a tremendous amount of damage, but a lot of power outages as well. I mean, there's still about 3.5 million homeowners that are disconnected yet this morning across Florida. So obviously, you know, that's a significant situation for many of those homeowners.
It is a significant situation, and I imagine for a lot of homeowners, they are interested in seeking out a lot of your products. I know there's been a lot of demand for some products that have already sold out. Aaron, how are you prioritizing the needs of customers, particularly given that I know you've got some clients who are professionals, industry professionals, versus kind of the consumer?
Yeah, so we do have, you know, we serve a lot of different industries. To your point, we not only have homeowners that, you know, use our products, but we also have businesses and other institutions that buy our products for backing up their operations and other critical elements of their business. You know, for us today, you know, in particular, if you just think about where we're at in the cycle, it's about getting as much product as we can into the market, portable generators and things like that people can use directly in an emergency until the power is reconnected. And that, you know, that's a part of our business cycle that will, you know, we'll probably see a run up here over the next month or so as people try to get their hands on those types of products. And then as power comes back on, we've got our retail partners who will want to replenish their stock. And then we'll start to see the more, you know, the larger demand surge around the stationary products, the permanently installed products for homeowners and businesses, you know, as they start to plan, not only for, you know, the remainder of this season, which goes through the end of November, but as they get into the winter season, and then of course, as they get around into next year. So I think that, you know, the point here is that we've experienced 1.2 billion hours of lost productivity this year to power outages through the first 9 months of the year. And that's a record for us since we've been tracking it in 2010. And, you know, with that kind of a disruption, obviously people are looking for a plan. They've got to create some kind of a backup plan for their home or their business.
Aaron, when you talk about power disruption like that, it's just given the storms and the patterns that we've seen, is that a situation that's likely only going to get worse from here?
That's our thesis. You know, I think there's obviously you can't ignore the science. The air temperatures are getting warmer. The water temperatures are getting warmer. This is creating greater extremities of weather. You know, not only more intense storms. You got the rapid intensification of Milton happened in a 24-hour period. It went from basically a tropical storm to a Cat 5 hurricane. You know, and you've got what happened with Helene. You know, some of the devastation there in areas of the country that just have not experienced, you know, the type of weather they saw with that event. But you've got also, you know, you look at Phoenix, you know, 100+ days over 100 degrees temperature, and then, you know, and weather is a big component of this, but also the grid is changing, and so, you know, I think there's a supply demand problem here as well that's been manifesting over the last decade or so as we work to electrify everything in our lives. And that's inclusive of transportation. Now you add on top of that artificial intelligence and the data center build out. And then on the supply side, we're decarbonizing the grid. So, you know, you have some of these macro forces that are at play here that I think are just going to continue to lead to lower power quality for us as a populace here in the U.S.
Amid the spikes in demand that we've been talking about, I want to mention that the Biden administration has been keenly focused on price gouging, and that's something that we've heard a lot about from him. How are you thinking about pricing, particularly when you do see spikes in demand? Do you tend to raise prices?
We do not. I mean, and again, we don't do that because, one, it's not right, and two, it's illegal. So I mean, the combination of those two factors, it's for us, our price is our price. We want people to access our products. We want to have them use our products when we have these types of events happen. And really, the biggest challenge, of course, is getting access to the products. We've moved a lot of inventory into the markets here over the last, in the parts of the Southeast, obviously, where storms were headed. We try to get that into those markets before the storms land. Unfortunately, you can only do so much of that, and then the roads start to close down, and it gets to become difficult to, from a logistics standpoint, to get the products there. And now, as things start to open back up, we'll want to get product in the hands of people because it could be a week to 10 days before power is reconnected.